When I was younger and people would ask me, "Who do you admire most?" I immediately replied, "My Nonna." As children, my sister and I looked up to my Nonna more than anyone else in the world. Whenever my Nonna and Nonna came to visit, we would count down the days like it was Christmas. My sister and I would always brag to our friends about how awesome our Nonna was, for she filled our lives with endless amounts of joy. My Nonna, Nate Deck, is one of the most loving, caring, and selfless people I know. She always puts others before herself and spreads happiness to everyone she meets. However, there is another side to my Nonna that I did not know about before I interviewed her. To me, my Nonna is a joyful, loving person who lives a happy life, but in reality, her life was not always as good. My Nonna was born in 1929 in Gorizia, located in northern Italy. At birth, she was given the name Antonietta Zvonka Zonomira Jusa. My Nonna grew up during the fascist dictatorial rule of Benito Mussolini, and as a result, her childhood was quite difficult. Her family was fairly well off. When she was 5 years old, Mussolini visited her province and picked her up and kissed her on the forehead. However, in this fascist government, citizens had to be completely obedient or they risked punishment. Even as a young child, my Nonna was forced to fight for Italy in World War II with the Germans. She tells me, "They give you a gun that is longer and bigger than you. We had to throw hand grenades at Allied tanks to alert the Germans that they were coming. When I was your age, I was always afraid." My Nonna's childhood was even more difficult due to the death of many close family members. When Nonna was 3 years old, her mother died in a horse carriage accident. As a result, she was raised by her father, the nuns at her boarding school, and her older sister, Floriana. Many times she spent holidays alone at her boarding school, while her friend went home to family. Furthermore, during the war, 2 of her sisters, Vida and Victoria, were sent to concentration camps because they were helping the Allies as part of the Red Cross. Sadly, her sister Victoria, whom I get my middle name from, died there. Before she was sent to the concentration camp, my great-aunt, Victoria, was put in jail. My Nonna would walk every day to the jail to see her and sneak her food. When she was finally taken away to the concentration camp, my Nonna begged the officers to take her instead, for her sister Victoria had a bad back. It came as quite a surprise to me to hear about how my relatives were sent to concentration camps. When talking about World War II and Nazi concentration camps, people generally only think of how the Jewish people were prosecuted. In reality, many other minority groups were targeted too, including my great-aunts who were Catholic. Moreover, it is deeply saddening to imagine what my Nonna went through as a young girl without a mother. It is impossible to imagine the struggles my Nonna went through as a young girl in Italy. Her early childhood hardship made me respect her even more as a person and admire her strength. Her story also makes the reality of war personal. She gave me first-hand accounts of the horrors of war and how it wrecks families and communities. My Nonna is one of the most joyful and kind-hearted people I have ever met, so few would guess that she had faced so many obstacles growing up. Her selflessness and bravery is unbelievable, for she was willing to give up her own life to save her sister. My Nonna's life took a dramatic turn when she met my Nonno in England. At the time, my Nonna was a soldier stationed in England, and my Nonna was visiting her sister in England. They met when my Nonna's sister's friend threw a party for soldiers in the military. Despite speaking different languages, it was love at first sight. They connected immediately and soon were engaged. Before they were able to get married, my Nonna was redeployed back to the States. They spent several months communicating via letters back and forth between Italy and the US, until they were able to get married and my Nonna was able to move to the US. Moving to America was an exciting but scary stage in my Nonna's life. The food, the people, and the culture were unlike anything she had ever experienced before. As a Catholic foreigner with a heavy Italian accent, she was initially not made welcome and ridiculed. However, she was able to work past this and lived a happy life with my Nonno in Rochester, New York. Soon my Uncle Walt and my dad were born, which brought even more joy to my Nonna's life. My Nonna had a loving family, and this was all she ever wanted. As a fearful young girl in Italy, she never imagined that her life would turn out as it did. From this interview, I learned about the importance of love and resilience. Hearing about the obstacles my Nonna overcame as a youth left me in awe of the amazing person she is today. Many people come out of difficult experiences bitter and defeated, but not my Nonna. She responded to these difficulties with love and resiliency and forgiveness. As my Nonna said, we should forgive people and love people because we are different, but we are brothers and sisters and we have to love each other and help each other. Part of what helped her remain such an optimistic personality was her strong faith and belief in forgiveness. Even today, my Nonna is an extremely loving and forgiving person. When people ask me who I admire most, I still say my Nonna, but for different reasons now.